Hey, there's that. August, yeah.
All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order.
Good.
Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we thank you for granting us the privilege to meet tonight. We ask for your blessing, wisdom, and guidance as we conduct the business of the village. Amen.
roll call.
Cheney.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Percy.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Nobody's absent, so we don't have to have a motion to that. Motion to approve the minutes from the February 24th regular meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of the February 24th regular council meeting.
Second.
Howard.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Fisher.
Yes.
Percy.
Yes.
Cheney.
Yes.
From correspondence, I received 2 emails from citizens against village-wide trash, 1 phone call against village-wide trash, 4 Facebook questions about village-wide trash, which ended with okay results, and they were content with that outcome. 2 face-to-face conversations with village-wide trash, which ended up with the same okay results. 2 emails and 2 Facebooks for Rumpke or anyone but Kimball. I was also forwarded an email from Kimball's stating, "Dear West Lafayette customer, we are reaching out to our valued customers in West Lafayette, Ohio regarding an important upcoming decision that will impact your waste collection services. On Monday, March 10th, the Village of West Lafayette Council is scheduled to vote on awarding an exclusive wastewater contract to Rumpke. This decision will take away your ability to choose your own trash hauler and force you into using Rumpke as your current hauler. We would hate to lose you as a valued customer. If you believe in the right to choose your own waste service provider, we strongly encourage you to attend the council meeting and voice your concerns. This meeting will take place in council chamber at 115 East Railroad Street at 7:00 p.m. If you're unable to attend, we urge you to reach out to your village council representatives or the mayor to express your concerns and before the vote takes place, or here on their website or by phone. Let council know that you value competition and the freedom to make your own decisions about waste services. Thank you for your time. We appreciate your continued support. Just to be clear, the village administration is working solely on this project because of the vote that happened in November, where 2/3 of the people voted for village-wide trash. Kimball's did not submit a bid. They are here tonight to speak. But they do have an exclusive trash service with Coshocton, and that is exactly what we were putting out there. Our bids were based on Coshocton's. So, I know that Kimball's would like to speak, and I know there are 4 of you here. So whichever one of you would like to speak first, please step up to the podium.
You guys go first.
So I'm Shayna with Kimball. I'm the municipal sales rep for the southern region.
I'm Jerry Heline, sales manager for the company.
So obviously, we appreciate your willingness to allow us to speak. So thank you, Mayor, for being gracious and allowing us that. We do want to acknowledge that we did miss the bid. That's not something that we typically do, but we are here to ask consideration to put this out to rebid. Typically in this area, we see 3 to 4 haulers who bid on jobs such as this, or contracts. And just a little bit of base knowledge, some of you may already know this, about Kimball in the area. We do currently service 470 roughly of your current residents, which is right around the 50% range. Current average cost is roughly in the $24 range, and that is for subscription service. and that is unlimited. We employ 7 employees at Kimball from the village. Anything else, Jerry, that you'd like to add?
Yeah, anytime, I understand the voters decided to go for village-wide trash service. And the value in getting multiple bids is you can get the most competitive bid that's out there. And we're very familiar with the bids that are out there and the services that we offer to municipalities. And I can tell you that Rumpke's bid is very high compared to what's out there. And what was that? I'm pretty sure, if you put this out for rebid and open it up to more bidders, you're probably looking at a 20% savings on what your residents would experience on the rates.
That being said, I know I spoke with Shanna in May and told her that we were taking it to the ballot in November. So knowing that it was going to the ballot, I would expect, if it was my company, to be watching for that bid or that vote to be, especially when it was positive that it was going to village-wide trash. I would start searching, and no one from your company reached out to us.
Yeah, there's no question we missed the bid. We dropped the ball on that. It would have been nice to see it published in more publications, more newspapers.
We had 2 other people pick up packets, so
Okay.
we did have other people pick up packets. They just didn't get everything together in time.
Again, we dropped the ball on that. I fully admit that. I still don't want to see it to be a disadvantage for your customer base. Again, I can pretty much guarantee a 20% savings if you'd rebid this. If you just look at competitive bids in the area and what they're bid at and what they're paying right now, it's a lot less than what you're going to experience, if you award the bid to Rumpke.
Personally, I'd rather pay 20% more and actually receive trash service that comes on time and is consistently on time and doesn't change just at a whim. So I would personally rather pay 20% more to make sure my trash is taken when it's supposed to be taken. And that has not been the case for the past year.
And we've had our struggles with having drivers in the trucks.
Oh,
We're
I understand
working on that very
struggles. I understand struggles and everything, but if I was to fail my company the way you have failed this community, I would have been fired years ago.
Yes.
To be perfectly blunt,
No,
that's how
I'm
I
glad
feel
you
about
are.
it, and that's the feedback that I receive from my constituents.
I have a half a bag of trash a week, and I pay $76 every 3 months for a half a bag of trash a week. I called to see if you guys had some type of senior citizen discount, but they don't. It's just
We
me,
do have
and
different service levels, though,
it's just me, well, I don't know, I like to pick it up every week.
but it would be weekly. It's just, we have 3 different service levels.
When I called to get a quote for a business out of town earlier today, because I do own properties out of the village, the quote was $61.50 for every 3 months for the 3 bags, so that's $20 a month. Is that what you're talking about, the different levels?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then it was $72 a month for what we were looking at for this type. But this is, again,
For
outside of the
subscription.
village, yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, so you do have some options.
So, well, I called one time to see what kind of options I had, other than the $76 for 3 months, when it's just a half a bag of trash every week. So.
Mr. Kimball, would you like to address council then?
Yes, please, if you guys are finished. Pardon me, I've got a little frog in my throat. We've been here picking up trash for over 30 years. And we've been doing that when it was easy to find drivers and it was easy to find mechanics to work on trucks and all that. And over the last couple of years since COVID, it just seems like it's been very difficult. We've done a lot with wages and increases and performance bonuses and safety bonuses and all those sorts of things. And Rumpke is a competitive company. They're probably going to do a good job. In my experience, and I've been doing this for more than 40 years, I don't think I've ever had a municipality where we were the major hauler that that we didn't get a phone call and say, hey, don't forget to pick up a bid package. And, you know, we didn't have that here. So obviously, and based on the sentiment that I'm hearing, you know, we've not done a good enough job to earn that. And, you know, that's disappointing. We feel, you know, that I would like to apologize for that. But sometimes with the driving hour restrictions that exist, the inability to find safe drivers, the need to train those safe drivers, it's not as easy as it might seem from outside the business. And so Jerry already mentioned, if we had bid on this, you would be saving a considerable amount of money, and you would have a performance bond that you could secure our faithful performance. And I would encourage you and ask you, it's not going to injure you at all. It's going to save the residents a considerable amount of money if you decide to rebid. I'm here to tell you that, and you can take that to the bank. Once again, apologize if you know, there are many residents that, you know, that recognize the issues. We always came and got the trash, but it is true that we had to push back because we had to go get the drivers off the truck. And, you know, and our competitors, Waste, Republic, Donkey, have all had problems at different times, you know, to pick up enough drivers and mechanics to do the job. I'll put that plea out there. We'd appreciate it. You know, we've got land in the area and work in the area with farming and oil and gas and do other things that that also doesn't really matter about the trash collection, but we do return investments into the local community. We are local. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry, do you want to come up and talk? Yep.
The thing I'm concerned about, how much is this gonna cost us a month?
It depends on which project they go with, but if they go with option with a trash can, it is $25.62 a month. If they do without a trash can, it is, I don't remember now,
$22.62.
$22.62.
All right. Now, if you have an empty house and there's not gonna be anybody in it, we still gonna get charged for it?
That is something I'm not aware of, but Corey,
No, sir. No, either you'll call in the customer service and tell them that the lot's vacant, or I can have Tammy.
In other words, the only house I'll get charged for is the house I'm living in.
Right, that's correct.
It's got two addresses. What do I do about that?
Well,
Yeah, at one time it was an apartment, but now it's just a single family dwelling.
yeah, I guess we just set it up to where we're only billing for one.
Huh?
I said, I'm confused on the two addresses part, but I guess we would just set it up to where we're only billing for one. I'm sure there's a way we can make that right.
I certainly hope so, because it's a single family dwelling now.
Yeah, it sounds pretty, like we can do that.
That was one of my concerns, because it's already cut and dry. And you took care of my other concern.
all right.
Can't do nothing about it.
Well, I can't tell people they can't drive down the road. Sorry, Larry. I try to tell people what to do, they don't listen.
Can't do nothing about it, but something happened.
Yep. Justin, do you want to talk? Yes.
Yeah, I'll say what I got to say real quick. All right, first, I feel like the voted issue is very vague in the fact that it's now mandatory is absurd. When I first read the ballot, I thought there's no way that people would pass something that gives up their right to choose who they can pay for trash removal services, but here we are. Approximately 600 plus people did vote yes for something that mentions no details about any contract, cost, any information, and the ballot was misleading. The citizens that were upset with Kimball Services should have just fired them and hired a new removal service company without council or anybody else telling them who or what it has to be. Where are you going to get better service at? That's why I deal locally as much as possible. Big commercial company, my local independent trash removal service is better than any big commercial company can offer. It's also the added peace of mind knowing who's in your neighborhoods, near your children, These big garbage compactor trucks are very dangerous, heavy, and it's not going into all the chemicals and liquids that get smashed out on the streets while they're compacting. This just lets another big company monopolize, driving little guys out. Only one company bidding shows it's not profitable or anybody else don't want it. Think back to Skip's Refuge that started out of his 1-ton truck driving around, turned it into a multi-million-dollar huge company, and he would not take this bid because he did not believe in the contracting bids trash pickup. So these contracts, like I said, keep the little guys from being able to get their route started and grow a service with word of mouth. I'd prefer the small state trucks driving around this village. This village has enough of its own issues and liabilities at hand without getting involved in mandating the trash pickup. But I guess at the end of the day, if I got to fire my trash guy that's been doing it for 20 years, I'll be sure to make sure next election, I'll be glad to see all your guys' names on it too. That's all I got to say.
May I speak to that a little bit?
Yes.
The reason we were wanting to mandate a village-wide trash service is there's a numerous growing amount of homes that does not have trash service. And it's just getting stashed in sheds. It's getting stashed on their porches.
That's why you guys have the option to
We-
cite them
we
and
cite
get the
them.
fire department involved for safety. There's
It's an
other
endless
ways to do this than to charge everybody in town for trash.
I understand that.
My trash guy backs right in my driveway, comes up on my porch, gets my trash
Right.
for way cheaper than any of these numbers you guys have said.
And I understand that.
And then you think about the old grandmas that's got a half a can of trash that their grandson would stop and pick up on his way to work and get rid of. There's a lot of instances in this small village that don't apply to the big cities.
We understand that.
So this big city operation, I don't feel is fit for the village, and I'm surprised that 600 people said yes. But that's a far cry from the actual number of people in this town that should have voted. But
We agree. I'm just trying to say.
the last sentence of that ballot to me was like it blew my mind. You guys have all the power now because they said yes, essentially.
We don't mean it as all the power. We've been in a vicious cycle with a lot of residents regarding this issue.
Apparently you haven't found them or built them enough because they're still living here, or got houses,
There's a lot of them that don't matter.
But once again, so you got a few riffraff that the whole city's got to pay for, or the whole town's got to pay for.
And I do see your viewpoint, so don't think that I'm like totally, I do see your viewpoint. This is something that we discussed in length as a community.
Especially about the small businesses. We did talk about them.
That was the biggest thing that we were like
There's
afraid of.
4 of them
Yeah.
that I can, really close.
Dave picks up my trash and I've never had an issue with them one time.
Yeah. And then, Kimball's did pick up more than they should have, just like Skip did. Skip spoiled us. They'd throw the chairs in there, the recliners, the shit you had out next to your can. They didn't care. They threw it in there. Rumpke's got a lot farther to go, a lot more fuel to use. They're probably not going to be as lenient, I wouldn't think. I wouldn't be as, we haul cars, so if I got
That being said, he offered to do community cleanup before their contract starts, so he's already stepped up, in my opinion.
that's one trip.
That's 3 dumpsters that he's bringing. Two dumpsters.
I'm sure Kimball will be more than glad because their yard's in Philly. So,
Well,
I mean,
during the flood, did they bring a bunch of dumpsters down and donate them?
I can't answer that. I'm not here sticking up for Kimball either.
No.
I'm here because I'm an American citizen. I want to pick who I'm paying to do a service for me because at the end of the day,
Well, this was brought to us, so we put it on the ballot, and the ballot, even if we voted no.
it says you guys seek a bid. Absolutely, get the bid, but then put it in front of us. If you put this on the bid right on the ballot and says, hey, everybody in town's going to be on Rumsky, here's your bill, blah, 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 and it passes, I'll put my head down, it is what it is. Because then they know what they signed up for. But that vote wasn't a good ballot, I did not believe.
Any other questions for Justin? Anything else for us, Justin?
That should do it.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep,
Thank you, Barry.
all right. Donnie, you wanna say anything else?
The only thing I wanted to say is, I think it should be all right. Maybe I want Kimball, maybe I don't want Kimball, maybe I want a little guy. So I think it should be all right. You let us opt out on electric or gas, whatever you guys send around.
Right,
And it's like what he was saying, people's hoarding this stuff, write more tickets. Had it on their property tax like you do mowing their grass.
Absolutely. If you guys rebid this, we'll save you $5 a house.
so
month?
Saves me more. Yes.
Well, I still think it ought to be the citizens' right to pick whoever they want. I don't think it should be either one of these guys. I think if whoever we have, we ought to have the choice. And if you've got a problem with them picking your trash up on time, you should have called them. They shouldn't have called you, Mayor, and asking you what the problem was.
they
And you
did,
should have told them, I have no control over it, you
I did.
call.
they did call
If you
me,
don't like them, you have the right to choose.
right, and I did call them. But when three different companies came and said, we have the option of doing village-wide trash. And if you do an individual for the same thing, like a can and unlimited, it's $72. With a can, it's $142 every 3 months through Kimball. Because I just got a quote for a house that I own outside of town. So that same product through Rumpke, because there are 900 of them,
But
it's
the
24.
bottom line
That's the
is,
quote I
you
got
have a
today.
choice of who you want to haul your trash.
Right,
We don't have a choice for water because we sold it out to the shop.
Woo!
Yeah.
But the trash service, there should be no question about it.
Our private subscription price is less, much less when we bid it, because we would have the whole town. We have about 600 of the customers, and so we charge a higher price because we have to skip houses instead of, in the same way Rumpke bid aggressively. We would just be more aggressive if you give us a chance to bid. And maybe the other two guys that are in town would bid too. Thank you, I don't mean to take over the conversation.
Julie?
I have Leroy.
Mhm.
I've had him for 30 years that I've lived here. And I'm happy with him. I don't want to change. I mean, he's cheaper than any of them. And he don't miss a day of picking up. I don't think it's fair to him to say, I've got to take somebody else because you want somebody to pick up everybody's. I mean, he's a little guy that's trying to make a living. That's just not right.
So I guess, excuse me, I
Sure.
guess the question is, she has Leroy and someone else was a small business. Does everyone have to go with whomever you give the contract to?
In
Can they
order to get these
continue?
quotes, you have to.
That's not right.
No, it's not.
They do that in Coshocton, don't they?
You
That's
you
a
have to
city.
have, in Coshocton, you have to have Kimball,
Yeah.
like, and they won't let you opt out. Frank?
I'll try to keep it on the phone here. Thanks for listening to my concerns regarding the new village trash contract. On March 7th, I got that email from Kimball, and you read it already, I'm not gonna reread it, but about keeping your choice and all that. I was kind of taken back and insulted by it because it kind of led to folks to believe that you guys were just picking to do this just on a whim. Last November, that ship sailed last November. The citizens of this community voted to go with a village-wide trash service. Attached, I ended up last year, I kept every email from Kimball. They switched their way that they notified us. but I have 11 emails and 10 voicemails of them telling me they were gonna miss the date. According to my records, last summer, between June and September, they missed the scheduled date 10 out of 17 weeks. That, they didn't service 50% of the time. These were the hottest months of the year, and maybe not having trash set out multiple nights and giving animals more time to get into the trash and have the smell isn't a priority to Kimball, but it is to us. This is our village, and we deserve a provider that serves us all the time, not just when they're wanting to get a contract. In early 2024, or in early December of 2024, Kimball left us hanging from Thursday to Monday. I filed a complaint, received this email back that basically said, we apologize. It does state on the back of your invoice that there's a possibility of delays for numerous reasons, yada, yada, yada. Such a clause to me is necessary, but once in a great while. That clause should not become your model of business, to where, you know, they, like I said, there's 4 months, 50% of the time they didn't fulfill their date of service. Now let's talk about price increases. Back when Skip had us and when they initially took over, it was $54 for 3 months. In 2024, there were 2 increases, but in 2024, the rate I paid is $79.80. Okay, $79.80 is still cheaper over 3 months than the quotes that you just gave. Okay, you know, prices have gone from $54 in 2021 to $79.80. That's an increase of $25.80 quarterly, an increase of 47%. Prices have gone up, but the service certainly has not. I do not mind paying for good service, but in my opinion, that's not the case with Kimball. I know prices go up. Let's at least word a contract to the company that thinks of service first. For these reasons and more, I implore this West Lafayette City Council to contract with anybody but Kimball for the job. And that's all. Any questions?
I got one, Frank.
No, this ain't a go back and forth thing.
Well, you
I'm
should've
talking to
switched-
council
You
here.
should have switched companies.
I'm
You
talking
didn't
to
like your
council
service.
here. Any council members have? No. If you, I'll talk to you out there. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else want to address council?
I wasn't going to, but can I?
Yep.
So I've had Kimball, I just moved into the village like 6 years ago, I've had Kimball when we lived out of town. I get it, for the last year, the service hasn't been great. I work in human resources, it's really hard to find help right now. If that's the issue with Kimball, in the last year, out of 20 years that I've had Kimball, it's not been great, I'll say that, they're here, obviously we're here for that reason. But you know, you're gonna get rid of them for maybe a year's worth of bad service when everyone is struggling with staff, trying to get help. So, you know, for the 19 years I've had Kimball, it was good. And I'm not complaining about, if I wanted to switch, I could have switched anytime. So I just think when, if you have people that aren't putting their trash out, you know, that's on them.